Yo, what's going on? Welcome into 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I am Jake Chipper, filling in here for Chase Sr., and on the show today, I'm going to be going through and ranking my top 10 affordable free agent targets for the 76ers. We've gone through some of the big names, and I did rank my top 25 overall free agent targets, but I wanted to dig a little deeper here on the show, get to some of the role players that could truly make an impact here for the 76ers. But first, before we get into it, I want to get a little Real One roll call. If you are subscribed to us here at 76ers Now, type Real One down in the comments section. I want to know where our Real Ones are at. And if you are not subscribed, there's never been a better time than now to sub to the channel. Huge offseason coming up for the 76ers. You don't want to miss a thing, so we're going to have you covered. Free agency, NBA draft, trade rumors, everything you need this offseason, we have you covered. So if you're not already, hit that sub button. All right, before we get into it, I had to define sort of what affordable means here because it can be kind of subjective. For me, I set my line at $20 million or less. If a player, in my opinion, is expected to make under $20 million this season, I consider him affordable. So, for example, Malik Monk, who we talked about earlier on the show, he can make up to $25 million this offseason, so did not include him in this video. Only guys who I think will make under $20 million. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Number one, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, guard for the Denver Nuggets. Now, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope does have a player option. He's the only player on this list who has a player option, meaning if he wants to, he can return to the Denver Nuggets. But I expect KCP to opt out of his $15 million player option, not because he doesn't want to be in Denver, but one, I think he could get a little bit more than $15 million on the open market, maybe about 17, 18, but also he'll be turning 31 soon. I think he wants some security in his contract. So instead of opting in and only being under contract for one more season, he can opt out, have the option to go wherever he wants, even resign with Denver and get on a long-term deal. But from the Sixers, when we talk about affordable free agents, he is far and away my number one target because of his 3-and-D ability. Since he joined the Denver Nuggets 2 years ago, he helped them win a championship, and he's been a stellar three-point shooter. You can see the number right there, 41.5% from three in those 150-plus games with Denver. He can put it on the deck a little bit. He can get to that mid-range. He's just a winning player. It's what he does. Obviously win that championship with the Nuggets. And if he does opt out of that player option this offseason, I'd be willing to throw 17, 18, maybe even $19 million toward KCP. He would be the perfect fit next to Tyrese Maxey in that backcourt. Getting to my number two affordable free agent target for the Sixers, got to be Andre Drummond, another guy that we have talked about a lot here on the show. And look, Andre Drummond, we know the Sixers need size, they need rebounding. We saw it in the Knicks series. They got bullied, they got out-hustled on the glass. Paul Reed just was not able to get it done against Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson. Even Precious Achiuwa came in, gave the Knicks some good minutes. So we've seen Andre Drummond here before. He's not going to cost you a whole lot. And the Sixers tried to trade for Andre Drummond at the trade deadline this season. The Bulls, being the terrible organization that they are, decided not to trade him to the Sixers, and now they're going to lose him for nothing. Great job over there in Chicago. But I would go out. Drummond going to cost you maybe a minimum. I think he'd be a better backup than Paul Reed. That's why I got him number two. Number three, Obi Toppin of the Indiana Pacers. Now, Obi Toppin is a restricted free agent, whereas Andre Drummond was unrestricted. Obi Toppin is restricted, meaning the Pacers can match any offer that goes Obi Toppin's way. So you're probably going to have to overpay to get Obi Toppin. He had a great season for the Indiana Pacers after being a top pick for the Knicks, wasn't really able to figure it out, ends up in Indiana, and this season, man, he really put it together. In about 21 minutes a game for the Indiana Pacers, 10 points, about 4 rebounds. Number I love, though, he shot 40% from three. The playoffs, points went up a little bit. Efficiency was a little bit down. Again, playing against that Knicks defense, that is to be expected. But Obi Toppin has been a very solid role player next to those two stars. I wouldn't mind Obi Toppin starting at the 4 next to Joel Embiid. Again, he is restricted, so how much are you going to be willing to throw at him? Are you going to have to overpay? We'll see what Indiana wants to do there. Now, coming in at number 4, I got Gary Trent Jr., guard of the Toronto Raptors, another player who is unrestricted, so Sixers will be able to go out and throw him an offer without the Raptors being able to match that. Gary Trent Jr., ever since he arrived in Toronto from Portland a few years back, been very steady, very solid. Now, this year, the counting stats were a little bit down. It's a team that's in a little bit of a rebuild season, but still, you can see very reliable three-point shooter every single season of his career. And that's what the Sixers need, really. The Raptors are entering sort of a mini rebuild. They have Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes. Where does Gary Trent Jr. really fit into that? I don't know. I think he's going to hit the open market, and for $10, $11 million, Gary Trent Jr., whether you want to start him, come off the bench, he'd be a very solid piece to add to the Sixers rotation. And now coming in at number 5, Tyus Jones. I love Tyus Jones. I hate that he's been rotting away in Washington for the past year because I believe Tyus Jones is the perfect backup point guard. Pretty much every single year of Tyus Jones' career up to this point, he has led or been top 2 or 3 in the NBA in assist to turnover ratio. It doesn't matter if he's on a good team, a bad team, whatever his role is, Tyus Jones can run an offense. He can do it efficiently and effectively, and he'll take care of the ball. I think him as a backup is the perfect role for him. He's finally now an unrestricted free agent, can leave the Wizards after they simply refuse to trade him at the trade deadline. Another terrible organization that's going to lose a good player for nothing when they could have had a first-round pick for Tyus Jones at the deadline. He'll be gone. And as a backup to Maxey, if you lose one of Larry or Cameron Payne, I think Tyus Jones would be a great option. Now, I got 5 more affordable free agent targets to get to on the show. But first, got to give a big shout-out to our friends at Fanatics. You can get this sick 76ers City Edition t-shirt at Fanatics right now if you go and use our link, chatsports.com/cityshirt. I was a big fan of the City Edition jerseys this year. I love the sort of dark blue with the red. I love the colorways that it has. I also love the 76ers logo that they use for the City jersey. So if you want to pick up your own, plenty of sizes available right now. Again, chatsports.com/cityshirt. If you use that link too, you can go find jerseys, you can find hats, you can find shorts, all different types of apparel available on Fanatics. But make sure you use our link, chatsports.com/cityshirt, so they know that Chat Sports sent you and you are a real one. Now, getting to number 6 on my affordable free agents list, Derrick Jones Jr., forward for the Dallas Mavericks, who has had a very, very good playoff run this season for Dallas, and a player that has really progressed well. He came into the league kind of as a raw player, with just an athletic, go up, dunk the ball type of guy, but he's really developed himself into a solid rotation piece for a team that could make a finals run this year. He's developed that three-point shot, which he did not really have when he came into the league. But Luka trusts him. He's a great defender. He's athletic. He can go up and get it. He can dunk the ball. He's sort of that perfect 3-4 swingman on the perimeter. And look, in the playoffs, 32% from 3, not great. But he makes a lot of timely shots. And that's what I like about him. I like also the 1.5 blocks a game. He has that vertical element to his game. A great defender, a player that shouldn't cost much if he doesn't want to go back to Dallas, or if they don't want to pay him. Sixers throw an offer Derrick Jones Jr.'s way. Now, coming up at number 7, Naji Marshall. And if you don't know who Naji Marshall is, you better get to know the name, because in my opinion, Naji Marshall is one of the most underrated players in the NBA. Only started 1 game this past season for the Pelicans, and a player that, a lot of fans probably don't know. But Naji Marshall does a little bit of everything for the Pelicans. He can score. He can run a little bit of point guard despite being a forward. He's a good defender. He can shoot the 3. He just makes winning plays. And the Pelicans have kind of a logjam at that forward spot. Will they trade Brandon Ingram? We'll see. But they have Zion. They have Trey Murphy. They have Herb Jones. They have a lot of bodies there that are going to need minutes moving forward. Naji Marshall was just making $1 million contract this past season. He's going to be looking to get paid a little bit more than that. And as a guy that can come off the bench, I think he can even start in some spots. Naji Marshall can do a little bit of everything. I think the Sixers would be smart to go and take a look at Naji Marshall. But coming in at number 8, I got Gary Harris of the Orlando Magic. Kind of similar situation with the Pelicans, where the Magic sort of have a logjam at that guard spot. Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Gary Harris. They drafted Anthony Black out of Arkansas. Woo pig, baby. They got a lot of guys there. Gary Harris, I think, is sort of the odd man out. To me, he's sort of the ideal 3-and-D guard off the bench for the Sixers. His whole career, he's been hovering right around 38, 39% from three. He can defend well, and he's not going to cost a lot. He's not going to demand the ball. He'll just play defense, sit in the corner, shoot some threes. If he could be healthy, which is an issue he's had over the course of his career, he could be a very solid addition to the back end of the Sixers rotation. Coming in at number 9, Royce O'Neal of the Phoenix Suns. Now, Royce O'Neal was traded to the Suns midway through the season from the Brooklyn Nets. They gave up 3 second-round picks for Royce O'Neal, which is why I think the Suns are going to be very aggressive in trying to re-sign Royce O'Neal this offseason. That's a team over there in Phoenix that is very devoid of talent outside of their top 3 guys. So any chance they have to bring back true rotation pieces, they're going to take. So we'll see how much money they try to throw his way. But Royce O'Neal, again, kind of your typical 3-and-D wing. He is smaller, only 6'4", but because of his frame and his strength, plays a lot bigger than that. A player that, if you don't bring back Nick Batum or Kelly Oubre and you have a need at that backup forward spot, Royce O'Neal, I think, will be a great fit next to Joel Embiid because he's tough, which is something the Sixers lacked a lot in this postseason was toughness. He's tough. He can hit the three. He can defend. He's getting older, on the wrong side of 30 now, but I think is still, has 2 or 3 solid years left in him. And then lastly, coming in at number 10, I got Malik Beasley. Look, Malik Beasley, he gives you one thing, and he gives you one thing only, and that is 3-point shooting. You know what you're getting from him. You're not going to get much else. But this past season, 11 points, 41% from three, shooting 7 threes a game. Doesn't get much better than that from a role player. Think Seth Curry. Think J.J. Redick. When you think of the Sixers and you think of players like Malik Beasley, sort of like a Buddy Hield as well. He's not going to take it really off the dribble. He's not much of a defender, but a guy that, you're going to pay, $6 million maybe, just to come in and hit some threes. The Sixers need guys that can make shots and space the floor for Embiid and Maxey. Malik Beasley wouldn't be a starter, wouldn't pay him like a starter, but he can easily come off the bench, hit a few threes. So sort of what we expected Buddy Hield to be. That's why I got him on my list. Now, that was my list. Let me know who you got on yours. Drop me a name. Who is your favorite affordable free agent target? Don't go saying Paul George. Don't go saying, LeBron James or Pascal Siakam. I want to know some of your role players, some of your deep cuts here. Is it somebody I named here today? Is it somebody I didn't name who you think the Sixers should target? Whatever you say, let me know in the comments right now. All right, that'll do it for today's show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in here on 76ers Now. If you haven't already, go follow me on X at Jake Chipper. I'm always tweeting about the Sixers, the Eagles, everything you need to know about those teams. Whenever we upload a video, I'll be tweeting it out so you can be the first to always know when we post a video. Appreciate everybody for watching today's show, and we'll see you tomorrow on 76ers Now.